The blood drained from Mark's face as he stared at the thick envelope stuffed with cash hidden under his 16-year-old daughter's mattress. $5,000. In hundreds. His hands trembled as he counted it twice, then a third time, hoping he'd made a mistake. Emma was supposed to be at school. Emma was supposed to be his good kid. Emma was supposed to be nothing like her mother. But as he held that money, feeling its weight, smelling the distinct scent of something he couldn't quite place on the bills, Mark realized he didn't know his daughter at all. And what he was about to discover would destroy everything he thought he knew about his family. It started like any other Tuesday morning. Mark had been rushing around their small apartment, trying to get Emma ready for school while simultaneously responding to work emails on his phone. Being a single dad for 3 years wasn't easy, but he'd gotten into a rhythm. Coffee first, Emma's lunch packed, quick check that she had her homework, kiss on the forehead, and out the door by 7:30. He prided himself on being present, being involved, being everything Emma's mother Sarah wasn't. Sarah had left when Emma turned 13, claiming she needed to find herself. What she found was a 25-year-old yoga instructor named Blake in California. The divorce was messy, brutal, and expensive. Sarah fought for custody she didn't really want, just to hurt Mark, just to drain his savings account with legal fees. In the end, she got weekend visits she rarely used and moved across the country. Emma rarely talked about it, but Mark could see the hurt in her eyes whenever Mother's Day commercials came on TV. That Tuesday, Emma had forgotten her science project. The one she'd been working on for weeks, the one that was due first period, the one that would determine half her grade. She called him, crying, begging him to bring it to school. Mark was already 20 minutes late for his morning meeting, but he couldn't let her down. He never let her down. That was his thing. Present, reliable, steady Mark. He rushed back to their apartment, grabbed the meticulously crafted volcano from Emma's desk, and that's when he noticed her bedroom door was slightly open. Mark had always respected Emma's privacy, especially since she'd become a teenager. But something felt off. The room was too clean, too organized. Emma was naturally messy, just like he was. Clothes on the floor, books scattered around, that was normal Emma. This sterile, hotel room cleanliness wasn't her. That's when he decided to look under the bed for her missing chemistry textbook. Instead, his fingers found the edge of something soft, fabric, tucked way back under her mattress. He pulled it out, expecting maybe a diary or some personal items she didn't want him to see. Instead, he found a designer purse he'd never seen before. Expensive. Way too expensive for their budget. And inside that purse was the envelope of cash. Mark sat on Emma's bed, staring at the money, his mind racing through possibilities. Had she stolen it? Was she dealing drugs? Was someone giving her money for something he couldn't even bear to think about? His little girl, his baby, the one person in his life who still believed in him, the one person who hadn't abandoned him. He heard footsteps in the hallway outside their apartment and quickly shoved the envelope back where he'd found it. But he couldn't shake the image of those crisp $100 bills. He couldn't focus on work. He couldn't stop imagining worst-case scenarios. By lunchtime, he'd made a decision that would change everything. Mark left work early, something he never did, and parked across from Emma's school. He watched as students poured out for lunch break, looking for his daughter among the crowd. When he finally spotted her, she wasn't alone. She was with a boy, older, maybe 18 or 19, definitely not a high school student. The boy was driving a car that cost more than Mark made in a year. A black BMW with tinted windows and rims that probably cost more than Mark's rent. Mark followed them. He felt ridiculous, felt like he was in some bad movie, but he followed them anyway. They drove to an upscale part of town where Mark never went because he couldn't afford to shop there. The boy parked outside a coffee shop that charged $8 for a latte. Through the window, Mark watched Emma and this stranger sit in a corner booth, talking intensely. The boy slid something across the table to Emma. Something small, something she quickly put in her pocket. Mark's phone buzzed. A text from Emma, staying after school for study group. Home by 6. Love you, Dad. She was lying. His daughter was lying to his face, and she was good at it. How long had this been going on? How many other lies had he believed? How many times had she told him she was at Sarah's friend's house or studying at the library while she was actually doing God knows what with this older guy? Mark waited until they left the coffee shop, then followed them to a parking garage downtown. This was getting dangerous. This felt wrong on every level. But he had to know. He had to understand what was happening to his little girl. In the parking garage, Mark watched from behind a concrete pillar as Emma and the boy got into the back seat of the BMW. That's when Mark lost it. He marched over to the car and yanked open the back door. Emma screamed. The boy jumped, hitting his head on the roof of the car. And Mark saw something that made his blood run cold. Emma was counting money. Lots of money. And she was putting it into small plastic bags. Dad, what are you doing here? Emma's voice was high, panicked, but there was something else there too. Anger. She was angry at him for catching her. Get in the car, Emma. Now. Mark's voice was deadly calm, the kind of calm that comes right before an explosion. Mr. Henderson, I can explain, the boy started, but Mark cut him off. You don't talk to me. You don't even look at me. Emma, car. Now. The drive home was silent. Emma stared out the window, tears streaming down her face. Mark gripped the steering wheel so tight his knuckles were white. When they got to their apartment, Emma ran straight to her room and slammed the door. Mark gave her 10 minutes to compose herself, then knocked. We need to talk. Go away. Emma, open this door or I'm taking it off the hinges. She opened it. Her eyes were red and puffy, but there was still that defiance there, that stubborn streak she'd inherited from her mother. Who is he? Mark asked. Just a friend. Friends don't give 16-year-old girls thousands of dollars in cash, Emma. She looked surprised that he'd found the money, but recovered quickly. It's not what you think. Then tell me what it is. Emma sat on her bed and took a deep breath. His name is Jason. He's 19. He goes to community college, and he needs help with his business. What business? He resells things online. Electronics, designer stuff, collectibles. He buys things cheap and sells them for more. He needed someone to help him count inventory and package orders. He pays me to help him on weekends. It sounded reasonable. It sounded innocent. But Mark had been a teenager once. He knew what it felt like to lie to your parents. He knew the difference between a teenager telling the truth and a teenager telling you what you wanted to hear. Show me. What? Show me this business. Show me the website. Show me the products. If this is legitimate, you should be able to prove it. Emma hesitated just a fraction of a second too long. I don't have access to his business stuff. That's his private information. Emma, I'm going to ask you one more time, and I want you to think very carefully before you answer. What is really going on? That's when Emma broke down. Not fake tears, not manipulation tears, but real, gut-wrenching sobs that came from somewhere deep inside her. I can't tell you, she whispered. Why not? Because if I tell you, someone's going to get hurt. Mark felt the world tilt sideways. Who's going to get hurt? I can't tell you that either. Mark sat down next to his daughter and put his arm around her. Emma, baby, whatever this is, we can fix it. But you have to trust me. You have to tell me the truth. Emma looked up at him with eyes that looked far too old for her 16 years. What if the truth makes you hate me? There is nothing in this world that could make me hate you. Nothing. You're my daughter. You're my whole world. Whatever this is, we'll figure it out together. Emma took another shaky breath. Jason isn't just some college kid. He's Mom's boyfriend's brother. Mark felt like he'd been punched in the stomach. What? Blake, Mom's boyfriend? Jason is his little brother. And Mom's been asking me to do things for her. Things she can't do herself because of the divorce agreement. Mark's mind was racing. What kind of things? She wanted me to take pictures of our apartment. She wanted me to document everything you buy, everything you spend money on. She said she was worried about you, that you might be having financial problems and she wanted to help. Emma, why didn't you tell me? Because she said if I told you, she'd have to take me away from you. She said she had evidence that you weren't taking good care of me, and the only reason she wasn't using it was because I was helping her understand the situation better. Mark felt rage building in his chest, hot and dangerous. Sarah was using their daughter to spy on him. She was manipulating Emma, threatening her, making her choose between her parents. What about the money? That's not from Jason's business. That's from Mom. She sends it through Jason because she can't send it to me directly without you knowing about it. She says it's for clothes and things I need but you can't afford. She says she knows you're trying your best but you're struggling, and this way I can have nice things without making you feel bad. Every word was like a knife in Mark's heart. Not because Sarah was sending money, but because Emma believed she needed to hide it from him. Because Emma thought he couldn't provide for her. Because Emma was carrying this burden, trying to protect his feelings while being manipulated by her mother. Emma, look at me. Mark lifted her chin so she had to meet his eyes. Your mom is lying to you. She's using you to spy on me because she wants to find reasons to take you away from me. She doesn't care about helping us or making sure you have nice things. She cares about winning. She cares about hurting me. But what if she's right? What if you can't really take care of me? Mark felt his heart break into 1,000 pieces. Do you feel like I can't take care of you? Emma shook her head quickly. No, Dad, that's not what I meant. I didn't want to make things harder for you. You work so much already, and you never buy anything for yourself, and I know money is tight because I hear you on the phone with the credit card companies sometimes. Mark pulled Emma into a tight hug. Baby, Yes, money is tight. Yes, I work a lot. Yes, sometimes I stress about bills. But that's my job as your dad. It's not your job to worry about those things or to hide things from me to protect my feelings. And it's definitely not your job to spy on me for your mother. What are we going to do? Mark was quiet for a long moment, thinking. We're going to call your mom. We're going to have a conversation. And we're going to set some boundaries. But when Mark called Sarah that evening, she wasn't interested in having a reasonable conversation. She was interested in attacking. I knew you'd turn Emma against me eventually, Sarah said before Mark could even explain why he was calling. I knew you couldn't handle co-parenting like an adult. Sarah, you've been using Emma to spy on me. You've been bribing her to keep secrets from me. You've been threatening to take her away if she doesn't comply with your demands. I've been making sure my daughter is taken care of since her father clearly can't handle the responsibility. Your daughter. When's the last time you saw her, Sarah? When's the last time you called her just to ask how her day was? When's the last time you helped her with homework or took her shopping for school clothes or stayed up all night when she was sick? I don't have to listen to this. Blake was right about you. He said you try to manipulate the situation to make me look bad. Blake. You mean your boyfriend who's never met Emma? The one whose brother you've been using to funnel money to our daughter so you could manipulate her into spying on me? Sarah was quiet for a moment, and Mark realized she didn't know that Emma had told him everything. Emma deserves better than what you can give her, Sarah finally said. Maybe. But she deserves better than what you're giving her too. She deserves parents who don't use her as a weapon against each other. I'm coming to get her. Mark's blood went cold. What? I'm driving up there this weekend. Emma's coming to live with me in California. Sarah, you can't just decide that. There's a custody agreement. The custody agreement says I have the right to petition for full custody if you're not providing adequate care. And thanks to Emma, I have plenty of evidence that you're not. Mark realized this had been Sarah's plan all along. She hadn't been trying to help Emma or check on their well-being. She'd been building a case against him, using their daughter to gather evidence for a custody battle. After Mark hung up the phone, he sat in his kitchen for a long time, staring at nothing. Emma found him there an hour later. Dad? Are you okay? Mark looked up at his daughter, this beautiful, smart, kind girl who was caught in the middle of something that wasn't her fault. Emma, your mom is coming this weekend. She wants you to come live with her in California. Emma's face went white. I don't want to live in California. I want to stay here with you. I know, baby. But your mom thinks she can prove that I'm not taking good enough care of you. That's not true. You take perfect care of me. You're the best dad in the world. Mark smiled sadly. Your mom has pictures of our apartment, documentation of our expenses, evidence that we struggle financially sometimes. In court, that might be enough. Emma was quiet for a moment. Dad, there's something else I didn't tell you. Mark braced himself. What? The reason Mom really wants me to live with her isn't because she thinks you can't take care of me. It's because Blake wants to marry her, but his parents don't approve of him being with a woman who abandoned her kid. If she has custody of me, if she can prove she's a good mom, his parents will accept the marriage. Mark stared at Emma in disbelief. How do you know this? I heard Blake talking to Jason about it when I was at the coffee shop. He thought I was in the bathroom, but I heard him say that getting custody of me was the final piece of the puzzle for their relationship. Mark felt something shift inside him. All this time, he'd thought Sarah was acting out of some misguided concern for Emma or some desire to hurt him. But she wasn't trying to hurt him at all. She was trying to use Emma to legitimize her new relationship. Emma wasn't her daughter to Sarah. Emma was her ticket to acceptance in Blake's family. Emma, are you absolutely sure about what you heard? Positive. Blake said once they get married and his parents see what a great mom she is to me, they'll probably help them buy a house and maybe even bring Blake into the family business. Mark was quiet for a long time, processing this information. Then he asked, Emma, would you be willing to testify in court about what your mom asked you to do? About the spying, the bribes, the threats? Emma nodded. If it means I can stay with you, I'll tell them everything. It might be hard. Your mom will probably say things about me, about our life here, things that might hurt to hear. Dad, I don't care what she says about our apartment or our budget or anything else. You've been there for me every single day for 3 years. You've never missed a parent-teacher conference or a soccer game or a school play. You helped me with algebra when you hate math, and you learned to braid hair just so you could do mine for picture day. You let me paint my walls purple even though you hated it, and you still tell me you're proud of me even when I mess up. That's what matters. That's what makes you a good dad. Mark felt tears in his eyes. I love you, Emma. I love you too, Dad. When Sarah arrived that weekend with Blake and a moving truck, she found Mark and Emma waiting for her with a lawyer and a court order. Emma's testimony about the manipulation, the bribery, and the threats Sarah had used was devastating. But what really sealed Sarah's fate was the recording Emma had made on her phone of Blake talking about using Emma to win over his parents. Sarah lost her petition for custody. She also lost her weekend visitations. The judge ruled that she had manipulated and emotionally abused Emma, and that any future contact would require supervised visits and family therapy. Blake broke up with Sarah the day after the custody hearing. Apparently, his parents were not impressed when they learned about the manipulation scheme. Sarah moved back east to live with her sister, and Emma rarely talks about her anymore. Mark and Emma's relationship grew stronger after the ordeal. They started family therapy, not because they had to, but because they wanted to make sure they were communicating better. Mark learned to ask for help when he needed it, and Emma learned that she didn't have to protect her dad from the truth. 2 years later, when Emma was 18 and starting college, she wrote Mark a letter that he keeps in his wallet. It says, "Dad, thank you for fighting for me even when it would have been easier to let me go. Thank you for showing me what real love looks like. Thank you for teaching me that family isn't about money or perfect houses or having everything figured out. Family is about showing up, every single day, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. You're not just my dad. You're my hero." Mark still works 2 jobs. Their apartment is still small. Money is still tight sometimes. But Emma is in college on a partial scholarship she earned with her grades and her essay about resilience and family. She calls Mark every Sunday, not because she has to, but because she wants to. And when people ask Mark about being a single dad, he doesn't talk about the challenges or the sacrifices or the sleepless nights. He talks about Emma, and how she taught him that being a parent isn't about being perfect. It's about being present. It's about fighting for the people you love, even when everyone else has given up on them. It's about showing up, every single day, and proving that love isn't something you say. It's something you do.